Lewis Hamilton has suddenly split from his longtime trainer and physio, Angela Cullen, and everybody is talking about it. Now, I didn't really know what physio meant. It must be like a European word. Basically, it's his physical trainer. Initially appeared to be a mutual split, but further details have come out that really makes it seem like this was a Lewis Hamilton decision. The real question is why? And maybe more importantly, why right now? And if any of these conspiracies even have a shred of truth to them, what does that mean for Lewis's future with not just Mercedes, but maybe F1 as a whole? In this video, I'm going to dive into all of the details surrounding this story, including some of the theories as to what could really be going on behind the scenes. The rumors started spreading online when, for the first time in 7 years, Lewis Hamilton showed up to Grand Prix weekend, but no Angela Cullen was to be found. First off, this woman is glued to his side almost every second of every single day. She's his chauffeur, she's his stylist, she's his personal assistant. I mean, she does it all for the guy, and to not be there with him on Grand Prix weekend is wild. And she's apparently not a very quiet person. Toto Wolff even described her as the only person at the track who could yell louder than the cars. It wouldn't be long after the rumors started going around that both of them would make their official Instagram statements. The statements are pretty boilerplate stuff as expected. It's the classic, Angela's off on her next adventure and they're both really happy for each other, wishing each other the best and better off on this path separated. But let's be honest, no relationship, especially one with so much financial gain at stake, ends mutually, or at least without one person being the first to throw out the idea of ending the relationship. So instantly, all the internet sleuths got to it. Let's figure out who was the person that made the first call here. On just the statements alone, we wouldn't have much to go on. But one thing is for sure that gave everybody pause. It's very strange that a predetermined split would happen one round into a season. If this really was a planned thing, why wouldn't that happen before the season, where you can have that whole offseason to sort of get comfortable with each other and comfortable having a new person around for the first time in a decade? The thoughts that a lot of us had that this definitely couldn't have been completely mutual, at least the way they're making it out to be, were kind of confirmed when Toto Wolff was first asked about it by press. His quotes and the way he responded heavily implied that this was a Lewis decision. He talked about how much they loved having Angela around and how she really was a part of not just Lewis's team, but the Mercedes team as a whole. But really, and this is the important part, he said, "We will support whatever decision Hamilton decides to take." Maybe we're reading into that a little bit too much, but that is a very hard line in the sand. Lewis Hamilton decided to make this decision. So then, assuming this was Lewis's decision, why did he decide to do it? Well, in that same interview, Toto would be questioned about Lewis's contract, which is actually expiring at the end of this season. F1 contracts aren't very long, so oftentimes they're expiring and getting renewed by teams. I mean, Lewis, I feel like, has probably had 3 or 4 contracts just in his time with Mercedes, and I don't think it's really expected that he's going to go anywhere after this season. But Toto did say he would not hold a grudge if Lewis did decide to look at other options that are out there, given the valley of tears that Mercedes has found themselves in right now. And that's an exact quote from Toto. Valley of tears. What an artist this guy is with his words. So while he doesn't really expect Lewis to go anywhere after the season, he certainly is thinking about it. And if he's thinking about it, Lewis must be thinking about it. But it's also not like Lewis has been the best driver over the past couple of seasons on the grid and maybe even on his team, with George Russell outperforming him many times. So could it be possible that Toto's comments about not holding a grudge are him starting to lay the groundwork of Mercedes making the decision to move away from Lewis? I think what we have here is the classic age-old story of the GOAT at their sport, best of all time, greatest of all time, whatever you call them, not being willing to admit that they've lost their fastball towards the end of their career. And when that happens, when these guys start to fall off, they're such competitors that rather than accepting the unavoidable realization that time is a thing and will negatively affect their performance, they decide to start blaming everyone around them. Even if we look at Lewis, we've kind of heard it on the radio. We've heard it in his answers to the press. And now with these breaking of ties with different members of his team and sort of muddying that relationship with the Mercedes team, you got to think we're heading in that direction. That snowball's starting to roll down that hill. Let's look no further than Tiger Woods when he really started falling off in his career. That big moment was firing his caddy. As we know, the caddy is the physio of the golf world. Later, we found out Tiger was in the middle of an all-time mental breakdown. Almost all the other GOATs have also gone through this. You look at Michael Jordan, even Tom Brady most recently, towards the end of his career, they all sort of have that fall off. Because they were so good for so long, they can kind of choose when they want to leave the sport. No team is going to stop signing them to a contract if they want one. If I'm not right, there are some interesting fan conspiracies out there, and one in particular that I really love. And that is that Mercedes has been intentionally hampering the performance of Lewis's car and making Lewis uncomfortable and frustrated because they love George Russell. They want him to be their number one driver. And they've got Mick Schumacher sitting there as their reserve driver. And he's young. He's Michael Schumacher's son. They want him to step in and be the number two driver. Start to build sort of a younger future Mercedes team, with Lewis, of course, being older and aging. Fans have even gone as far to say that Mercedes actually asked Cullen to tell Lewis she was stepping down in their pursuit of just pushing him out of the team. Now, if you could tell by my tone here, I find this theory a little ridiculous, but it's not really because I don't think Mercedes would push Lewis out. I think that very well might be happening. It's more because I don't think Mick Schumacher is that good, and I think Mercedes knows that Mick Schumacher is not the future of their team, or even half the driver that his dad was. The idea that there could even be a shred of truth to this rumor that Mercedes would actively hamper one of the, if not the greatest F1 driver of all time's car is why I love this sport so much. So, what do you guys think? Is this move by Lewis to part ways with his trainer even a big deal at all, or just kind of a logical parting of ways? 10 years into a career, people change. Do you think Mercedes is trying to push Lewis out the door? Are they done with him? Are they done with that relationship? The best part about F1 is all of this can be true, and everyone's theories have some backing. So make sure you let us know what you think in the comment section below. Smash that like button on this video and subscribe to our channel for more F1 conspiracy theories. See you next time.